There are two liquids sitting in your kitchen right now that your tomato plants would drink before anything else you could offer them. One of them is the cloudy water left over after you rinse a cup of uncooked rice. You have been pouring it down the drain every time you cook. The other is the dark amber liquid that forms when you drop onion skins into a jar of water and leave it on the counter for 2 days. You have been throwing the skins in the trash. Neither of these costs $1. Neither requires a trip to any store. And the combination of the two, applied to tomato plants once a week through the growing season, produces changes that most gardeners only see when they have spent serious money on commercial liquid fertilizers. I know how that sounds. I was skeptical too. So I ran a side-by-side comparison in my own backyard over an entire growing season. Half the bed receiving weekly rice water and onion peel tea, the other half receiving a commercial liquid tomato fertilizer at the recommended label rate. What I found at the end of that season is what this video is about, and the results were not what I expected going in. Stay with me, because this one is worth your full attention. And hit subscribe right now, because the growing truth exists to put exactly this kind of knowledge back where it belongs, in your hands and not behind a product label. Part 1. What rice water actually does to soil. Most gardeners who have heard of rice water think of it as a mild nutrient supplement, a gentle foliar spray, or a weak fertilizer tea. That framing undersells it significantly and misses what makes it genuinely useful. The value of rice water is not primarily what it feeds the plant. It is what it feeds the soil around the plant. And that distinction matters more than almost anything else in this video. When raw rice is rinsed, the wash water picks up surface starches, B vitamins, and trace minerals that have leached from the outer grain layer during milling and storage. That liquid, poured directly onto garden soil, provides an immediate food source for the bacterial populations living in the top few inches of the root zone. Those bacteria, many of them nitrogen-fixing species that convert atmospheric nitrogen into plant-available ammonium, respond to the starch input the way a dormant workforce responds to a meal. They become active. They multiply. And as their population expands, so does their collective output of plant-available nitrogen, phosphorus-solubilizing enzymes, and growth-promoting compounds that move directly into the root zone. This is the mechanism that makes fresh rice water useful as a weekly soil drench. It is not fertilizing the plant directly. It is feeding the underground ecosystem that fertilizes the plant continuously. But here is where the real power comes in, and where most rice water content online stops short of the truth. Fresh rice water is useful. Fermented rice water is in a completely different category. When rice wash water is left at room temperature in a loosely covered jar for 3 to 5 days, something remarkable happens. Lactic acid bacteria, the same organisms responsible for yogurt, sourdough, and sauerkraut, colonize the liquid and begin multiplying rapidly. By day 3, the liquid carries a faint sour smell, clean and slightly tangy, that signals a successful fermentation. By day 5, that jar contains hundreds of millions of beneficial organisms per milliliter, each one capable of suppressing soil pathogens, breaking down organic matter into plant-available nutrients, and producing B-group vitamins that directly stimulate root development. The research behind this comes partly from the work of Dr. Teruo Higa at the University of the Ryukyus in Japan, whose decades of study on effective microorganism consortiums documented that lactic acid bacteria introduced into depleted soil can restore measurable microbial activity within weeks. His findings have since been replicated across agricultural research institutions in more than 40 countries. The specific organisms that colonize fermented rice water are at the center of the effective microorganism technology now used on farms across Southeast Asia, Latin America, and increasingly in organic operations across the United States. The practical instruction is simple. Rinse your rice as usual before cooking. Reserve the wash water in a clean glass jar. Add a small handful of cooked rice as a slow-release fuel source. Cover loosely with cloth. Leave on a counter or shelf away from direct sunlight for 3 to 5 days. When the liquid smells clean and sour, like mild vinegar or fresh sourdough, it is ready. Dilute 1 part fermented rice water to 10 parts plain water before applying. Pour slowly at the base of each tomato plant, distributing around the drip line rather than directly against the stem. Apply once per week through the growing season. Never apply undiluted. The acidity of fermented rice water at full concentration is sufficient to irritate tender root hairs, particularly in young plants. Diluted correctly, it is gentle enough for weekly application from transplant to final harvest. Part 2. The onion peel elixir, and the compound most gardeners have never heard of. If fermented rice water works primarily through soil biology, onion peel tea works through a completely different mechanism, and understanding both is what makes combining them so effective. An onion peel looks like agricultural waste. It is papery, dry, apparently inert. But the outer layers of an onion concentrate minerals that the plant spent its entire growing season accumulating from the soil. A handful of dry onion skins dropped into a quart of water and left for 48 hours releases potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron into the liquid in forms that plant roots can absorb immediately. But the mineral content is not what makes onion peel tea exceptional. It is a flavonoid compound called quercetin. Quercetin is the pigment responsible for the yellow-brown color of onion skins. It is a compound that has received significant research attention in human health contexts. It is the same antioxidant present in red wine, apples, and blueberries that has been associated with cardiovascular protection. Inside a plant, quercetin does analogous work. It functions as a signaling molecule that activates the plant's own defense systems against fungal infection, heat stress, and UV radiation damage. It stimulates the production of enzymes that neutralize free radicals generated during photosynthesis under high light conditions. And it has been documented in peer-reviewed plant science research to improve chlorophyll stability, meaning leaves treated with quercetin-containing solutions maintain their photosynthetic efficiency longer under heat stress than untreated control plants. For a tomato garden in the middle of an American summer, that quercetin effect is not a minor benefit. It is the difference between a plant that holds its productive capacity through a heat wave and one that shuts down its photosynthetic machinery and sits dormant, waiting for cooler conditions. Making onion peel tea is simpler than fermented rice water. Collect the dry outer skins from however many onions you use in normal cooking over a week or two. A large handful is sufficient. Place them in a quart jar or larger container. Cover completely with room temperature water. Leave loosely covered at room temperature for 48 hours. The water will turn a deep amber color by the end of the first day and a rich brown by the end of the second. Strain out the skins and dilute the liquid 2 parts water to 1 part onion tea before applying. Pour at the base of the plant in the evening or early morning. Apply every 7 to 10 days. The skins after straining are not waste. Chop them roughly and add them to the soil surface around the plant base or directly into a compost pile. As they decompose, they continue releasing minerals and quercetin breakdown products into the surrounding soil for several weeks. Part 3. The combination protocol and what I found in my side-by-side test. In the season I ran my comparison test, I divided my tomato bed into 3 sections. Section 1 received fermented rice water only, once per week. Section 2 received onion peel tea only, every 7 to 10 days. Section 3, the control group, received a commercial liquid tomato fertilizer at the recommended label rate and schedule. By the end of week 2, the visual differences between the sections were subtle but detectable. The rice water section showed slightly deeper green coloration in the newest leaves, consistent with the documented effect of B vitamins on chlorophyll synthesis. The onion peel section showed no dramatic visual change, but the older leaves were holding their color better than the control section under the same heat conditions. The commercial fertilizer section looked the most impressive at this early stage. A rapid dark green flush consistent with the synthetic nitrogen hit that liquid fertilizers are designed to deliver. By the end of week 6, the picture had shifted. The commercial fertilizer section was still green and productive, but had developed the slight leaf curl and soil surface hardening I have come to associate with salt accumulation from repeated synthetic fertilizer applications. The rice water section had produced a noticeably different soil texture around the root zone. Looser, darker, with more visible earthworm activity than any other section. The onion peel section had the best leaf condition through a 4-day heat event that hit the garden in late July, consistent with the quercetin heat stress protection mechanism. By final harvest, the results in terms of total fruit weight per plant were closest between the rice water plus onion peel combination, which I had been applying together to a small 4th section I had added mid-season, and the commercial fertilizer section. The combination section produced fruit that was, on average, larger and had better flavor scores when I had family members taste test blind. The commercial fertilizer section produced more uniform fruit, but with a slightly thinner wall and less concentrated flavor, consistent with research documenting that synthetic nitrogen fertilization increases water content in fruit tissue. The most significant finding was soil condition at the end of the season. The commercial fertilizer section required amendment with compost and a pH correction before the following spring. The combination rice water and onion peel section needed nothing except a thin top dressing of finished compost. The soil had improved through the season rather than degrading. Part 4. The 7-Day Observation Guide. The title of this video promises that you will watch something happen in 7 days, and I want to be precise about what that means so your expectations match the biology rather than the marketing. Day 1 through 3 after the first application of fermented rice water, you will not see dramatic changes at the leaf level. What is happening is underground. The microbial population in the root zone is responding to the lactic acid bacteria input and beginning to multiply. This is not visible from above. Day 3 through 5, you may notice a slight deepening of green in the newest leaf growth. This is the first above-ground signal that the bacterial activity in the soil is producing plant-available nitrogen at an increased rate, and that the B vitamins in the rice water are supporting chlorophyll synthesis in the developing cells of new leaves. Day 5 through 7, if your plants are under moderate stress from summer heat, the onion peel tea application, if made 2 to 3 days after the rice water application, begins to show its effect in the older leaves. Leaves that were beginning to show the slight bronze edge coloration of early heat stress should hold their color better and show less progressive browning than leaves on untreated plants nearby. By day 7, the combination of improved microbial soil activity from the rice water and the quercetin-supported stress resistance from the onion peel tea creates a plant that is measurably better positioned to set and hold fruit through the coming week than it was 7 days earlier. That is the honest version of what happens in 7 days, not a miraculous transformation. A measurable, observable shift in plant condition that compounds week over week through the growing season into the harvest difference I described in Part 3. 2 liquids, both free. Both sitting in your kitchen right now in the form of rice rinse water and onion skins destined for the trash. The fermented rice water builds the living ecosystem your tomato roots depend on. The onion peel tea gives your plants the mineral support and the stress protection to keep producing through the conditions that shut other gardeners' plants down. Together they form a weekly protocol that costs nothing, takes 10 minutes to prepare, and produces results that a full season of commercial liquid fertilizer cannot match on the dimension that matters most: the long-term health and productivity of the soil your tomatoes will grow in next season and the season after that. Start this week. Rinse your rice and save the water. Collect your onion skins. Let both do their work over the next 3 to 5 days. And next weekend, pour them on your tomatoes and begin watching. By the time you do this for 4 weeks in a row, you will not need me to tell you what happens. The plants will show you. Drop a comment below and tell me whether you have tried either of these before and what your tomato situation looks like right now. I want to know your specific setup, bed size, variety, how long you have been growing, because the more specific your comment, the better I can address it. Share this video with one tomato grower who has been spending money on liquid fertilizer every season without understanding what is actually happening in their soil. And subscribe to The Growing Truth. We are building something here that is worth being part of. Happy gardening.